Every day, thousands of New Yorkers report to work, proudly walking the toughest beat in America, inside New York's prisons. These 25,000 men and women make up the New York State Correctional Officers Police Benevolent Association. NYSCOPBA's members provide for the care, custody, and control of the more than 60,000 inmates inside state prisons, making New York's system the safest in the nation. But with state officials proposing cuts at the Department of Corrections, corrections officers' jobs are more challenging than ever. In this message from NYSCOPBA's president, President Rowe separates the myth from reality in DOC's consolidation scheme.
For years, the Department of Corrections has come out with one side of the story. We believe it's important to set the record straight and educate the legislature and the general public. For far too long, our message has been stifled. That has to stop now.
President Rowe sets the record straight on staffing levels, double bunking, and poor decision-making at the administrative level.
What we're doing is attempting to educate the legislature and the public on the true mission of the Department of Corrections and the need for increased security rather than less security. We're walking the halls, we're meeting with top agency heads. We've also started an ad campaign in newspapers and TV and radio. We'll continue to travel the state. I personally have done editorial boards and will continue to do to get our message out to the public that public safety is the #1 priority.
DOCS has used a cut security first approach based on their misleading and inaccurate numbers. These unreliable statistics help create an even more dangerous work environment for NYSCOPBA members.
The Department of Corrections has continually put out misinformation regarding inmate population and its capacity at our correctional facilities. Currently, we operate our maximum security facilities at 124% capacity. Our medium securities operate at approximately 107% capacity. These are the facts. These are by their own numbers. My concern with the department's current cuts is if they continue to take this simplistic approach of cutting frontline security staff, they're going to jeopardize the safety and security of our state prisons. And that is a threat to public safety and the safety of my members. Correction officers work the most dangerous job imaginable. To make that job more dangerous is irresponsible.
To this point, the public has only heard one side of the story on prison capacity.
Though the inmate population has decreased from 130% capacity to 107% capacity, we believe the Department of Corrections has misguided the public in that we have empty cells, empty facilities. We certainly do not have that by the department's own numbers. At NYSCOPBA, we're very much aware of the population percentages. Our maximum security facilities currently operate at 124%. Our medium securities operate at approximately 107%. Another misleading point of information that the department likes to put out is that our inmate to officer ratio is approximately 3-to-1. On any given day, an officer works at a ratio of 60-to-1. The inmate to officer ratio that the department uses is if every correction officer worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we know that's not the case.
President Rowe explains the dangers of double bunking.
Currently, the Department of Corrections operates with over 8,000 inmates in double bunk situations. We believe appropriate steps in right-sizing our system were taken in 2001 and 2004 when some of these double bunks came down. Back in that era, we had inmates housed in gymnasiums. We had 90 inmates housed in a 50-man dorm in double bunk situations. Double bunking was implemented as an option by the Department of Corrections back in the late 80s when our inmate capacity was well over 130%. This caused increased tensions with our staff and with our inmates. With double bunking in our prisons, now we have officers in dormitories that were designed to watch 50 inmates with one officer. Now he watches 60 inmates.
DOCS has consistently made critical staffing decisions without seeking the counsel of the men and women who provide the care, custody, and control of the inmates.
The only approach the department has had with NYSCOPBA is informing us of their cuts. They have not included us in these decisions. They haven't asked for our input. We are the frontline source of security within the facilities. We should be part of the solution for the economic crisis and the cuts that the department has to bear. For the Commissioner of Corrections to give me a 2-page document that only addresses our losses in frontline security staff is irresponsible.
As part of his campaign, President Rowe has consistently presented his plan to help DOCS make more informed, thorough decisions.
The Department of Corrections should take a system-wide approach on how they look at the completion of their mission as a department. Certainly with administrative levels at 7 or 8 above supervisory staff of frontline officers, there certainly could be cuts done there. Rather than looking at the simplistic approach of cutting frontline security staff and consolidating inmate dormitories, we believe the department could look at administrations which enjoy free automobiles, free housing, free gasoline. Certainly there's cost savings in those measures.
President Rowe has a very clear message to DOCS when it comes to right-sizing the corrections system.
I believe the Commissioner of Corrections has in the past and presently taking the easiest route out, which is warehousing inmates and cutting frontline correction officers. This is a dangerous approach. Certainly with a budget of $2.4 billion, the Commissioner should look from top to bottom and how we function as a department. In my 27 years as a correction officer, I've seen the administration continually cut the frontline security staff and expand their administrations. It's time to stop that approach and staff our facilities appropriately with frontline security staff. I'd ask everyone who hears this message to get involved and join us in getting the message out of the correction officer. For far too long, our message has been stifled. This has to stop now.
Thank you for joining us for this Message from the President with Don Rowe. For further updates, log on to www.nyscopba.org.